Morning children, we are learning the lesson The Making of a Scientist from Footprints Without Feet. Yesterday we read how did a book become a turning point in Richard Ebright's life and how did his mother help him and contributed in his becoming a great scientist. Let's continue with the lesson today. We are on page number 34. At the end of the book, readers were invited to help study butterfly migrations. They were asked to tag butterflies for research by Dr. Frederick A. Horvath on the University of Toronto, Canada. Ebright's mother wrote to Dr. Horvath and soon Ebright was attaching light adhesive tags to the wings of monarchs. Anyone who found a tagged butterfly was asked to send the tag to Dr. Horvath. The butterfly collecting season around reading lasts 6 weeks in late summer. Now you can see the graph below. If you are going to chase them one by one, you won't catch very many. So the next step for Ebright was to raise a flock of butterflies. He would catch a female monarch, take her eggs and raise them in his basement through their life cycle from egg to caterpillar to pupa to adult butterfly. Then he would tag the butterfly's wings and let them go. For several years, his basement was home to thousands of monarchs in different stages of development. Yesterday we read children, the mother, ever keen for her son to continue his interest in butterflies, bought a book titled Travels of Monarch 10. The book taught Ebright about migration of monarch butterflies to Central America and sharpened his eagerness about butterflies. This book also made a request to the readers to tag butterflies for research by Dr. Frederick A. Horvath of Toronto University. The butterfly collecting season in reading lasted 6 weeks only, and collecting them one by one did not lead the collector anywhere. So Ebright caught hold of a female monarch and raised her eggs in his basement. He tried to raise as many monarchs as possible, tagged them, and let them go. However, soon he lost interest in tagging butterflies, as it was not a very rewarding job. Of all the butterflies he had tagged, only 2 could be recaptured. So, children, further he says, eventually I began to lose interest in tagging butterflies. It's tedious, means very boring, and there is not much feedback. Ebright said, in all the time I did, he laughed. Only 2 butterflies I had tagged were recaptured, and they were not more than 75 miles from where I lived. Next he says, then in the 7th grade, he got a hint of what real science is when he entered a county science fair and lost. It was really a sad feeling to sit there and not get anything while everybody else had won something. Ebright said his entry was slides of frog tissues, which he showed under a microscope. He realized the winners had tried to do real experiments, not simply make a neat display. So, children, in his 7th grade, Ebright came to know of the county science fair. His entry was slides of frog tissues, which he wanted to show under a microscope. Here he learned that a neat display of object is not of much importance, and if one wanted to win prizes, one had to perform actual experiments. Already the competitive spirit that drives Richard Ebright was appearing. I knew that for the next year's fair, I would have to do a real experiment, he said. The subject I knew most about was the insect work I had been doing in the past several years. So he says that the competitive spirit urged him to pledge that for next year's fair he would do some real experiments. So he decided to work on insect, a subject he was really conversant with. So then he says further that he wrote with the same spirit to the doctor. So he wrote to Dr. Urguhat for ideas, and back came a stack of suggestions for experiments. Those kept Ebright busy all through high school and led to prize projects in county and international science fairs. So when he wrote to Dr. Urguhat for ideas, and Ebright got many suggestions in return. These suggestions kept him busy all through the high school and also won him many county and international science fair prizes. So he must be very happy. For his 8th grade project, Ebright tried to find the cause of a viral disease that kills nearly all monarch caterpillars every few years. Ebright thought the disease might be carried by a beetle. He tried raising caterpillars in the presence of beetles. I didn't get any real results, he said, but I went ahead and showed that I had tried the experiment. This time I won. So for the 8th grade project, Ebright worked to find the reason behind the viral disease that caused the death of nearly all monarch caterpillars every few years. He thought that the disease was carried by a beetle. So he raised the caterpillars in the presence of beetles. Although he did not get any results from this experiment, but he won the prize for experimenting itself. The next year, his science fair project was testing the theory that viceroy butterflies copy monarchs. The theory was that viceroys look like monarchs because monarchs don't taste good to birds. Viceroys, on the other hand, do taste good to birds. So the more they look like monarchs, the less likely they are to become a bird's dinner. So later what did he do? Next year he tried to verify and test the theory that the viceroy butterfly copies the monarch. It was believed that monarchs didn't taste good to birds. So viceroys tried to waylay the birds by giving the impression of being monarchs. However, Ebright's efforts resulted in finding that starlings did not like ordinary food but ate monarchs greedily. Ebright's project was to see whether in fact birds would eat monarchs. So he found that a starling would not eat ordinary bird food, it would eat all the monarchs it could get. Ebright said later research by other people showed that viceroys probably do copy the monarch. This project was placed first in the zoology division and third overall in the county science fair. So you can imagine, children, that which position he got into. His project won him the first prize in zoology division and an overall third in the county science fair. However, Ebright tells us that later research by other scientists showed that viceroys do copy monarchs.